We're going home.
Take it, man, and quit leering at me. People are gonna think I just broke up with you.
Two fallen angels have just discovered a loophole that can get them back into heaven.
Outstanding work!
All they have to do is get to Red Bank, New Jersey. There's only one problem.
What are you? What do you want with me?
Stop a couple of angels from entering and thus negating all existence. I hate it when people need it spelled out for them.
Hey everybody, welcome to Watch This Podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And this is the fifth time we're doing this intro, so we're going to stick to it this time. Today we're continuing our journey through the films of Kevin Smith on the road to Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Today we are talking about the fourth film in the View-Askewinverse, Dogma, starring Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Linda Florentino. Didn't have to look at my phone that time.
There we
did this
go.
4 times already.
Proud of you.
So yeah, this is a film that I had seen, like the rest of the Kevin Smith movies, and you guys hadn't. But or have you, Ryan?
Well, the first time I saw this movie, it was at like a youth event at a church, funny enough. And one of the adults came down around the point where Chris Rock falls out of the sky. And like he jokingly went off on us, like, "What are you kids watching?" and turned it off. I mean, I'm pretty sure he would have been fine with it. It was just we were there as to do like charitable work, and I don't think it was kosher per se to be watching that film. I mean, it was just a bunch of like 16 and 17-year-olds at the church. There really wasn't anybody who was actually from that church there that night. So maybe that's why he kind of was like, "Hey, you can't really watch this." So
I mean, I couldn't think of a more of appropriate place to watch it, though. Well done.
I mean, we ended up watching Terminator 2 after that to fill the time. So, I mean...
Similar.
So did he have a problem with the nakedness, the content of the movie, or Chris Rock? If you had to guess.
I don't think it was any of it. I just think it was the fact that he was 35 years old.
Okay.
He was a young, like, youth leader.
Okay.
And I don't think he wanted to get in trouble. Because
Got it.
because like even after the fact, he stayed down with us to watch Terminator 2, and I overheard him with a few of the like youth kids from the group that he was with. And he was a fan of Chris Rock. He actually liked the movie because even though he was a strong person of faith, he felt that the movie had a lot of good points in it.
Well, we'll get into those.
Yeah. We'll get into that. So it was just the fact that I don't think he wanted to get in trouble from somebody who didn't understand the film.
Yeah. I mean, I remember in youth group, we would have 30-hour famines where we would stay at the church overnight.
Yeah.
And like the first one I went to, a bunch of kids would bring like 32-inch tube TVs and their Xboxes, and we would just do Halo LAN parties like in the church
the good
hall.
old days.
Oh man, I want to have a Halo LAN party for my birthday this year. Like that's just what I want.
Oh, we're doing it. Absolutely, we're doing it.
You're coming out from LA just for that.
Yep.
Celebrate my birthday, not yours at all, even though it's 2 days later.
No, just yours. Halo LAN party. I'm down. We're doing it.
Yeah. And Devin, you had never seen this, right?
No, but admittedly, this was on Comedy Central all the time. And halfway through the movie, I realized that I mixed up in my mind what this movie is and Death to Smoochie. I basically took Death to Smoochie, put Buddy Chirst in it, and thought that's what this movie was.
Okay. That makes sense.
I was wrong. Does it, though?
I mean, well, because of the restaurant movies, like that kind of makes sense. Like Movie and Smoochie kind of look alike.
Yeah.
So it's time for me to be that person. It's time for me to be that person because Devin usually is.
Okay.
Death to Smoochie.
I'll do it.
Okay. Death to Smoochie is a dark comedy starring Robin Williams and Edward Norton.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're going to have to put it on the list.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
Yeah, I've never seen it either. I'd mix these two up.
Yeah, that might be the first Robin Williams on the list.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think so. Because I've seen a lot of Robin Williams films.
Man. Is this one like a pure comedy, or is it like touching and uplifting like some of Robin Williams comedies?
It's in between. It's like in between Insomnia and What Dreams May Come.
That is quite the scale.
It's like his
Go
dark,
ahead.
it's the Robin Williams dark period. Like Flubber was like 5 years before this, but he hadn't quite gone to the Disney route yet.
RV was still just a twinkle in someone's eye.
Yes. That was just like a
Got
first
it.
draft sitting on somebody's typewriter.
This is kind of like how Jim Carrey went through his like I'm gonna be a dramatic actor phase,
which still hasn't ended until Sonic the Hedgehog comes out next year. But going back to what you were saying, Devin, I actually watched this for the first time on Comedy Central, and I didn't know what it was. I had no idea who Jay and Silent Bob were. I think I knew them from like their commercials for Strikes Back, but I like didn't know. I'm pretty sure though this movie was my first introduction to Alan Rickman.
Oh, what a good one!
Because I watched it and was like, oh, that guy has a cool voice, and then I watched Galaxy Quest. It's like that's the guy from Dogma.
Good.
Like, that movie I saw on Comedy Central. I could be getting those reversed, but those two were my introduction to Alan Rickman, not Harry Potter.
See,
I like the way this plays out.
Galaxy Quest was mine.
Yeah,
because I can't remember. When did the first Harry Potter film come out?
2001.
2000, and Galaxy Quest was
99, 2000.
2000. Okay, I'm pretty sure then I saw Galaxy Quest first, because I remember having the conversation with my dad, and he was like, "Oh, he's in Galaxy Quest," and I was like, "Who?" And then it was like, "Oh, okay, that's the guy from Galaxy Quest." Because I showed the movie to my dad because I thought it was funny, but my dad had seen all of the original Star Trek. And then, of course, he started watching, like Next Gen and everything. Yeah. And so to him, Galaxy Quest hit harder on the funnier scale than it did for me. So it stuck with him more than, that. But yeah, no, my thing to Alan Rickman was Galaxy Quest.
So Galaxy Quest and Dogma were both 99. So I might have to say that's peak Alan Rickman comedy.
That is peak Alan Rickman. Wow.
Oh, man.
On the state side, we don't know.
Why did he do it?
He's a British actor.
Stuff?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was in Pride and he was in some of the Jane Austen TV made for TV specials.
Yeah, but when it comes to mainstream comedies, though, those are two good ones to have in 1 year.
Well, true.
And 99 is such a big year for a lot of things. Like a lot of big movies. Like 99 is a big turning point in like cinema, because you had the Matrix and all kinds of stuff came out that year.
That's a good point.
So where do we want to start with this movie? Okay, actually I think I know. So how do you guys feel about this, comparing it to other movies that we have watched of Kevin Smith so far?
It was fine. Comparatively speaking, I think I like the last one we watched, Chasing Amy. I think I like that one better.
Okay.
I think I wanted this movie to be more of anything. And when I finished, I just went, well, that was okay. And then like turned it off and promptly forgot everything. Like, I don't know. For some reason, like nothing in the movie particularly stuck with me the way I really, really, really wanted it to.
Okay.
I think it's just because of the subject of religion. Like, I think because it was about religion, I think I wanted it to like really like punch me in the face with a viewpoint, or I wanted it to like really like shock me in some like deeply religious way, and it like didn't. And I think I was just like, neat, and that was it.
Yeah. You didn't grow up in a religious household, did you?
No, but I found it very hard for a long time. I had an ex that we did a really deep dive into it, to the point where like I had a Bible on me at all times, and I like would open it and like quote scripture to people. Like I was pretty in it.
Is that the ex I'm thinking of?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Ryan, how about you? Did you grow up in a religious household?
My dad originally wanted to be a Catholic priest.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
Obviously he did not.
My dad originally wanted to be a Catholic priest. He dropped out of the seminary after his junior year of high school and finished out his senior year in a public high school. He wanted to. He found out through. Apparently, I'm not sure if it's the same thing anymore. But going to a seminary back when my dad went to seminary, he basically did college level classes of like liberal arts type stuff. And he found out that he wanted to be in the medical field more than he wanted to be in the like mission.
Okay.
So he dropped out, went to a public school, went to college to become to work in the X-ray field, which he eventually started managing X-ray departments at hospitals. But that's a different story.
Okay.
But
That's pretty cool, though.
I went to CCD classes. I had my first communion. I went to Catholic Mass every Sunday up until I was about maybe 14, which with this movie and the subject we'll probably get into later.
Yeah.
But I think this movie has more to do with the Catholic faith than it does Christianity as a whole, because they mention Catholicism and rely on that a lot more than they do, let's say, anybody who's not.
Yeah, I definitely think
yeah?
it's attacking. Well, not attacking. It's saying something about the Catholic religion as a whole, and how like they're trying to rebrand and be Catholicism now.
Yeah, exactly. So honestly, that's why I'm not surprised Devin has the reaction he did, because of the fact that this movie has to do more with Catholicism and being Catholic than it does, let's say, being Lutheran or being Protestant or being any other type of sect of Christianity.
Yeah. Kevin.
I was the kind where I'm like, you can't put labels on me, man. Like that was the kind I was. Like
You were
I wasn't like a Catholic or anything.
evangelical then.
Is that what that is?
If you don't really believe in one sect and you just believe word for word for what the Bible says, and you were doing what you were doing, you're evangelical.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I went down that road for about 3 years, so believe me, I know.
I grew up in the Catholic Church too, and not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But I went to Mass every Sunday up until like graduation of high school.
Yeah.
Like until I went to college, it was
wow.
Mass every Sunday, and then it was, I think the first time I went to Mass at college was like Ash Wednesday, my freshman year, just to get the ashes. But I don't really go anymore. But I grew up in the Catholic faith, so there's a lot said in this movie that makes me go, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So. And Kevin Smith grew up
I feel
Catholic.
like I missed a whole part of this movie then.
Yeah. I mean, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's okay. I mean, that's fine. Like, I want to learn about this. That's why I'm like pumped to talk about it.
here's how I've always referenced myself, because like I said, I don't do the thing anymore, like at all. And whenever I meet another either Catholic, ex-Catholic, whatever, I always use the phrase, I'm a recovering Catholic.
That's what I used to.
Yeah, because I mean, it fits, because I mean, and not to make light of alcoholism, because that's where that comes from, that saying anyway, and not to make light of that at all, but there is a certain connection between being raised Catholic and then growing up with that and then kind of straying away from it and dealing with like the fallout of being raised Catholic, of what you're like taught to believe, that a lot of other people of faith, especially in Christianity, don't deal with. And that's why there's a lot of like Catholic jokes. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the most hardcore Catholics I know are usually the best at making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Catholic humor, except for the woman to start off that DVD.
She's my favorite.
See, for me, it started automatically, so I didn't get that. Like it just auto played right into the titles at the front.
Yeah,
Oh, you missed out. She's fun.
I got like half of it, and for some reason it skipped forward. Like she like said, "You're going to," and then it cut to the beginning of the movie. I don't know.
So you said Kevin Smith was Catholic, Alan?
Yes.
So, I mean, was or like is? Like, is this a condemnation, or is this like gentle poking?
Okay, so this was I think he wrote the first version of the script before Clerks, which is why at the end of Clerks it says Jay and Silent Bob will return in Dogma.
Oh yeah, it does.
But he held off on doing it so he could fix some things in the script and also learn some stuff as a filmmaker and actually be able to do the effects right.
Sure.
I think back at the time he was kind of still Catholic. He didn't get married in a church. I know that. I don't think he really considers himself Catholic now.
Sure.
But I can't speak for him. I only met the guy once.
Good.
In front of the Buddy Chirst statue.
See, that's the coolest part to me, I think.
Oh, really?
I love that.
But yeah, so he had this written before Clerks and then just waited a few years to get some stuff under his belt and money behind it to actually make it. So,
I mean, that makes sense, though. This was like, it seemed like the most effects heavy of all of his movies.
To me, it seemed the most rounded out. Because, I mean, I could easily say that this is probably my favorite one out of the four, but I still like the second one that we watched the most.
Mallrats.
Mallrats.
Okay.
Mallrats is still my favorite out of this. Dogma's number 2.
Okay.
What did you like about Mallrats better?
I just, even though personally I connected with Dogma more than I did Mallrats, I feel like the humor and the storyline is just more fun. Like Mallrats is a movie that I can either sit down and actually watch it and be entertained by it, or I can put it on in the background and like just hear clips as I'm like cleaning like the house or something.
Yeah.
And then I can still enjoy it then and not feel like I'm being pulled to the TV. Dogma, I'd be pulled to the TV. There's no way that I could just watch this casually. Like this is a sit down and watch movie. Clerks would be painful to watch again. I'm sorry. And Chasing Amy, it just, I would never have the urge to put that movie back on.
Okay.
So,
man, you're gonna love next month.
Oh no!
So this movie has the biggest all-star cast that we've seen so far in a Kevin Smith movie. So we got Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Linda Florentino of Men in Black fame, who evidently is very hard to work with.
Who?
Really?
Bethany, the main woman in this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess Kevin Smith calls her out in the commentary, which is also, I think, why she's not in Men in Black 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she just made enemies of all the Smiths. Will, Kevin.
Didn't matter who.
Janine Garofalo's in here. Jason Lee returns. Alan Rickman, of course, we talked about. Chris Rock, Selma Hayek. George Carlin.
Yeah, I was shocked that she was in this movie.
Selma Hayek?
Yeah, she just like showed up. I'm like, oh, hey, Selma Hayek.
Yeah, like the late 90s was like her, like she was big back then. Like this was a year after Wild Wild West.
This was after Wild Wild West.
Pretty sure.
Wow.
Let me check. Nope, same year. Man,
that's crazy.
Like I said, Wild Wild West, like 2009 or 1999, big year for cinema. Matrix, Dogma, Wild Wild West.
Yeah, it really was though. Dang.
Yeah, she was in. Yeah, for a very brief, for a very brief period of time. Well, not brief, but like for a couple year stretch in the 90s, like she was getting close to being like Hollywood, to being Hollywood's main like sex symbol almost.
I mean, it's kind of what she was in this.
And now she's in a Marvel movie.
Is she?
She's going to be in Eternals.
Oh yeah, she is. Okay, that'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. So Devin, when you first started watching this, you said that somebody in it made you very excited. Was that Carlin?
It was Carlin. I didn't know he was in this.
Playing Cardinal Glick.
Oh,
Talk
he played
about
such a good part too.
Talk about a perfect person to play a Catholic priest.
Yeah. This is not
Right?
this is not the only film that he did with Kevin Smith. It's not one that we'll cover before Reboot, but he was also in Jersey Girl.
I didn't know what Jersey Girl is.
Jersey Girl is a rom-com. Okay. Do you remember when Bennifer was a thing. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there were 2 movies coming out that year with the 2 of them, Gigli and Jersey Girl. And then Gigli came out and flopped, and then they broke up. So then Kevin Smith had to go back and like recut all of Jersey Girl. So Jennifer Lopez was only in like 2 scenes.
Oh, I love that.
And it's one of those films that we might have to watch for this down the line.
Yeah.
But it's not in the View-Askewinverse. But I know George Carlin's in it. He plays like Ben Affleck's dad or something.
Oh, neat.
I know Ben Affleck has a kid, and they live with George Carlin, and George Carlin is inappropriate because there's a kid around, and it's George Carlin.
Yeah, that all makes sense.
So
It would
Also,
have been
speaking
like
of movies like that, we need to watch Tusk. I want to real bad.
we probably will.
Yes.
We might just do a Kevin Smith week, like do an episode a day for a reboot, because why not?
Oh, that'd be fun.
You in?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, so we'll throw Jersey Girl in there
All right.
because
Good.
I actually haven't seen Yoga Hosers, and I feel like that'd be a good one to watch as well.
Oh, we have to watch Yoga Hosers.
Yeah, Yoga Hosers and Cop Out.
I don't know what Cop Out.
Cop Out
Is it
is
the Yoga Hosers of cops?
no, Cop Out is a movie that Kevin Smith directed for a studio that somebody else wrote. So he just kind of was a director for hire for it.
Yeah.
And it stars Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan. And one of those 2
What?
people, Kevin Smith had a huge falling out with. And I'm not going to tell you who.
You better at some point. I'm so curious now.
I'll give you a hint. They were not on 30 Rock.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Yeah. Well, there's like a whole history there that we can talk about when we get to that.
Good.
It's in his book. But yeah, so how do you think this film works with a big cast like it has? Do you think everything flowed well or not?
Personally, no. I don't think it did. I think he wanted so much to focus on the background of each character and like the rules of that character. Because each character in this movie is like a deity or like a angel or a muse of some sort. So I feel like each character had to sit down with the other characters, explain who they were, explain what their rules were in order for the ending to work the way that the ending worked. So I felt like it was a lot of like stuff's happening. Whoa, here's another person. Whoa, now we're all sitting down and I guess we're now just talking about how they work and fit into everything. And this is kind of boring. Ooh, an action scene.
Exposition.
Yeah, but like holy cow, there was a lot of it.
And it was kind of like reading a book out of the New Testament.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Oh,
at least when it happens, it's not real. Like the dialogue is fast. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not too preachy.
Yeah.
It's like there's humor to it. Like
yeah.
you're hearing.
And I feel like that humor came from everybody, like that one or other person. Like for me, the humor came from the interactions between the one person in the group who knew that person. And then it was like, oh, you're here. And then they had their like buddy moment. And then it was them explaining. And then you had 2 people you had the person telling their story. They're like wingman or wing person to like pull out the humor out of that story for the other people. And that's what I liked about it. Like every time they showed somebody else knew that person.
Yeah,
It was kind of like that was the introduction. And that's what I liked about it. But I mean, still like it was that whole like introduction, explaining. But I feel like with how many characters there were in this movie, regardless of the star power that was in it, I feel like it would have had the same flow, regardless of who the actors were.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think of Jay and Silent Bob in this? As prophets?
I think I liked them the most in this. I think this was one of my, I don't know, I liked them in Chasing Amy probably a little bit more, but I liked the role they played in this a lot. I think this is one of my, no, I'm going to say it. This is my favorite Jay and Silent Bob appearance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan, what about you?
Tied with Mallrats.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely get
Interesting.
the Mallrats, Jay and Silent Bob in
Yeah.
this, like the cartoony.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the Jay and Silent Bob that I like. I like the like cartoony side to it. And to me they were back to playing and had and had more screen time in this one than Mallrats, but they were still playing that same like comic relief type thing to it.
At this point in the View-Askewinverse, they're not really background characters. They are like side characters. Like they have a good chunk of time. And I think Silent Bob has my favorite line again in this movie, which is after they have the battle on the train, he throws Ben Affleck out the back and he just turns, looks at the guy and says, "No ticket."
That's right.
Which is a great callback to Indiana Jones. That's my favorite joke.
To me, it would have been better if the guy sitting in the chair would have ripped his ticket out and like waved around, like, you know, like scared just like the passengers on the Zeppelin.
Yeah,
did in the Indiana Jones movie. But mine has to do with, it's not really a line, but it's a back and forth. It's when Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's character are on the like moving carousel thing at the airport. Yeah. And they're talking about how whatever rules the church makes on earth, God must, you know,
adhere to. Yeah.
Adhere to.
Yeah.
And as they're talking, you see the nun in the background drunk holding up her donation jar in the background. And the bartender's trying to like get her back in the bar. Like, that is my favorite sequence of this movie.
Yeah.
They had a line at the airport that I really liked, and I forget. Oh, it was Matt Damon, right? Matt Damon was talking about why he sits at airports all the time and why he loves them so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't a funny moment, but I really like, that's one of the few parts of this movie that really stuck with me.
Yeah, it's Ben Affleck. It's Ben Affleck who goes to the airports because you get to see the people at their best. Like, people were united. Like, she's cheated on him, but they don't care about that at this moment. Like, they just want to be together.
That's a callback to one of my favorite Christmas movies that Alan Rickman is in. That's a British movie.
Love Actually?
What?
Love
Which
Actually.
one?
Love Actually came out after this.
No. I know. I'm saying in my brain, okay, so I use the term callback. That's my problem. But anyway, that's the same premise that's based around Love Actually. It's the same exact thing. It's like being at airports because at that one moment, all anybody cares about is being reunited. Yeah. And that's basically what the whole, like, that's where the movie starts and ends.
Devin, have you seen Love Actually?
I have.
Okay. Then we can't do it for the podcast.
I saw it on Christmas this year. It was good.
It is good. I watch it every year.
Yeah, it is a good movie.
Another one of my favorite jokes is the boardroom scene for when they attack the movie's board, and they're like, "You're good. Like, you're a pretty decent person." And they let that woman go until the very end. Loki says to her, like, "You're good to go, but you didn't say bless you when I sneezed." And Ben Affleck's like, "No, come on, we got to go. Like, just stop." Which is, it's such a weird moment when he sneezes in that, and you're like, "Oh, that's weird." And then it has that payoff that you completely forget about it. And then it has that payoff like 5 minutes later.
Good thing they had that.
I like when you can put in moments like that.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do we want to talk about?
All right. So this is going to be weird and dumb, but we all had the special edition DVD, right?
Yes.
Did anyone else absolutely hate the menus?
Like I said, my DVD player skipped.
It just went straight in.
Yeah.
So I have the deluxe edition, and one of the things that it like touts on the back of the deluxe edition is fully interactive menus. And they're just so 90s and so cheesy. Like, they were like hard for me to want to navigate. Like, and I think that's just like me. And I know this has nothing to do with the movie, but it was so distracting that I hated starting up the movie.
Yeah. So this actually brings up a good point about this movie. We had a hard time getting it set up for us all to watch it because it is not available to stream or download legally anywhere online. And it's because of Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Fierstein. But no, that's actually real serious.
It's because of Harvey Weinstein. So when this movie came out, it was being produced by Miramax, who is owned by Disney. Believe it or not, Disney got a little bit of cold feet about releasing this movie. So Harvey Weinstein bought the rights to it outright and then brought it over to Lionsgate, and they released it from there. So the Weinstein Company owns the rights to this film. And after, I don't know if you guys know about this, but nobody likes Harvey Weinstein anymore.
No.
No.
Hate to break it to you. If you think that's bad, we'll talk about Kevin Spacey later. So since that's happened, no one wants to touch his catalog with like a 9.5 foot pole.
Yeah.
And even Kevin Smith has come out and said that when the news first broke about all this, I remember him going on a podcast and talking about how it breaks his heart that his backlog of films is forever tied to that man. Like that he's the one who like helped his career. Like he's the one who bought Clerks at the festivals, and all the proceeds that he gets from those films from now on, he's donating to a women's charity in Los Angeles.
Oh.
So
Kevin
like
Smith's amazing.
Yeah, he had like the best response to all of it. Like he just doesn't want anything to do with that money. Like it's just going there. So
yeah, I love that. And that's honestly, I found it at a thrift store. I paid $7 for the DVD. Like that's like the best reason for me to need to go out of my way for that. I'm not even a little upset.
Yeah. Thrift shops are great for that. I just bought about 4 movies and 4 seasons of TV shows for like $10 at a local library bookstore.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And some books too, but not counting those in the $10.
Not as exciting.
I almost bought the full series of The Wire for $20.
I heard that was good.
I only ever hear great things about it. I just haven't had the chance to sit down and watch it yet.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Ryan?
No.
Okay.
We did it.
Not putting that on the list.
No.
So yeah, so Disney had cold feet about putting out this movie, and
Not
then it was
surprised.
and it was also protested by a lot of people.
Just like in the same way that like Book of Mormon was protested, they're like, it's about religion. We hate it.
Pretty much. According to IMDb, there was a man. Let me find his name. I should have taken screenshots, so I had all this.
It's all good.
I can cut this out later.
Or don't.
I don't know where it went.
Did he do a bad
Well,
thing?
there was one guy who was protesting it for months before the movie even came out, and he had never seen the movie.
Which makes sense.
So after months of protesting it, he called View-Askew's office and asked for a private. His secretary asked for a private screening because he wanted to protest the film intelligently. To which Kevin Smith said, "Then what? Like, what's he been doing for the last few months? Like." And at one point, Kevin Smith joined a bunch of Catholics protesting the movie, like outside of a movie theater. Like he picked up a picket sign and was interviewed by the local press about the movie.
What?
And no one believed that it was
that.
actually him. Yeah, the clip's online that you can find it. But yeah, that's unbeknownst to protesters, Kevin Smith joined one of the Catholic groups that protested his film. He managed to get interviewed by a reporter who recognized him, though Smith managed to stay incognito by giving his friend's name as his own, and telling her that he is often mistaken for the Clerks director. During the interview, Smith also made the comment that he kind of liked Kevin Smith's first film. So
I like that.
Well,
All right. Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
The thing is with this, and it's with any type of movie, where there are certain things that people get really touchy about, and it's the big two, religion and politics.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a movie that even looks like it's going to be negative one way or the other, you get the opposite end of that spectrum over, and they automatically protest the movie, regardless. if they've seen it or not. I mean, when you really watch this movie, if you're somebody who takes your faith to be part of who you are, which that's not a problem if you are somebody like that. You can if you want. It's fine. But if you take on this faith to be part of like your core of your being, I can see I can see that person being offended by this movie multiple times. But if you are comfortable with your faith and you're able to have faith in it, even knowing that there are some possible silly aspects to it, this movie shouldn't damage your view of your faith at all.
Yeah. You have like, if this movie makes you like question your belief, you weren't really secure in that belief to begin with.
Exactly. Because this movie doesn't even come close to what Bill Maher did in his, in
Religulous?
Yeah, that one. This movie doesn't even come close
boy.
to that. And like people protest a Dogma like they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, can we get into it then? Can we like get in the weeds? Because like,
Sure.
I feel like I missed a lot of the harsh criticism, or like a lot of the criticism that this movie had. Like, for me, it seemed like the religion was the vehicle for the story and not the point of it. And I feel like I might have missed a lot of it because I didn't have that like Catholic upbringing, and I guess I didn't understand a lot of the tenets of the Catholic faith. I know buzzwords.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it is the vehicle for it. I don't think it's really. They do a good job of letting you know what you need to know about the Catholic faith. So even if you've never stepped foot in a Catholic church, don't know what a priest is, they pretty much lay everything out for you.
Yeah.
I don't really think it's saying that much about the faith itself. I think it's talking more about the church and the ridiculousness of the church can have all of these rules, and according to them, God has to abide by them. So just the hypocrisy of whatever we say goes, and the big guy upstairs has to abide by that. And then I think the whole thing is that loophole and trying to get it closed so that the two angels can't make it back up.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called Dogma, and it's because of that conversation I mentioned before about being my favorite, because that's the catalyst for the entire that conversation where they talk about how whatever rules and laws the Catholic Church puts on earth, God has to follow inside the kingdom of heaven. Mm-hmm. That's the catalyst for the entire movie. Yeah. Like that's it.
Yeah.
And that's what and that's honestly what I like about it, because you don't really need to be Catholic to really get it. Now, there are certain little nuanced things in this that you kind of have to be Catholic to kind of get the humor in a tad. Yeah. But other than that, like it's pretty much like somebody threw a rock on the ocean of Catholicism, and the stone skipped across the surface, and each skip was how much they told you about the Catholic Church to know the storyline. Yeah. Like they didn't even touch on like 80-90% of what it actually is.
And now, Devin, in case you're confused, giant shit monsters, shit demons are not part of the Catholic faith.
Yeah. No.
Oh, dang. I was hoping they were somewhere in there.
That was just a demon thing they came up with for humor, which I personally thought, see, that's one of my issues with movies like this. To me, that's just stupid. Like, I didn't find that funny.
Really?
I just found it to be stupid. I mean, I giggled at it a little bit, but like, I would have giggled at that if I was 10.
Yeah. I mean, they have a rhetoric like explanation for it. Like it's the shit of the people who died on the cross next to Christ.
Yeah, and they mention that to a point, and to me that still like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if I don't know if that's actually in the Bible anywhere.
It's not.
It might be in one of the cut gospels.
One of the cut gospels.
Yeah, the gospel of Rufus.
Which I liked how they did that, because there are gospels that were cut, because the whole thing that they talk about how like he just, it's like the story ends when he's 10 or 12, and then boom, he's like 35 years old or 32 years old. Like there is that, and I like how they referenced that. Yeah. But
yeah, it's like Superman. You see him when he comes to Earth, and then he's Superman. You don't, until Smallville, you didn't really get the the teenage years. So what we need is a show inspired by Smallville called Bethlehem or Nazareth, wherever he grew up, and it's just baby Christ.
Aww.
All you need is a family
That
member
would be
to tell.
cute.
All you need is a family member to tell 13-year-old Jesus that maybe letting a school bus full of children to die was probably the best chance.
Okay, so we need to talk about the some of the special effects in this. So the angels, we get to see a lot of Alan Rickman, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a Ken doll.
What would you guys think of that prosthetic?
I mean, okay, so if we're just going like all of them, I think there was very impressive special effects in here, and I think it was the wings.
Okay, yeah, a lot
That
of
part I loved.
a lot of a practical for the wings.
Yeah, the practicals, the CGI stuff was obviously CGI and obviously outdated.
Yeah,
I'm shocked to hear this came out at the same time as The Matrix. Honestly,
I mean, The Matrix is so far ahead of itself. Like,
yeah,
and it had a much bigger budget than this did.
that's true.
See, that's my answer for the budget that he was probably working with. I'm okay with the effects.
Yeah.
I really am, because
Yeah,
to be honest, when you really come down to it, a movie like this, I would have been fine seeing some wires. That wouldn't have bothered me. to be, to be completely honest, because I mean, like, there's,
Yeah.
I mean, even a movie made today of like this. I mean, like, let's say Dogma came out like last month, and it was of the same quality effects wise as it was when it was released. When it did, I wouldn't be griping about it at all, because there's no need for it. I'm also the type of person that doesn't care about like having really good realistic effects in video games either. So I mean, it all depends on the storyline and what the context is. Like I said,
know what?
I
I
would
get
have been
that.
fine. I would have been fine if I would have seen wires on
Ben Affleck.
on Ben Affleck.
Ben
It wouldn't
Affleck?
have bothered me at all.
Yeah, I enjoyed them.
I mean, did you?
yeah, I mean, it's a comedy, so they're not going to be the best. Like, I don't expect
Yeah.
best CGI anything in a comedy. Like, if you have to have the best
yeah.
special effects in your comedy, it's not that great of a comedy.
That's true. I think I was just shocked to see so much of it. I mean, I'm glad they used it. I think they definitely could have told the story without it. But I think the fact that like they showed like Ben Affleck flying around above the church and then like landing in, I mean, honestly, a kind of cool shot in front of the church. Like,
Yeah.
I think I was just shocked that it was there and pleasantly surprised.
So, Devin, that church is actually in Pittsburgh.
What? Which one?
Yeah. It is St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church.
Really?
Yes.
Hold on.
They filmed this in Pittsburgh.
I couldn't tell. Now I feel like an idiot. Oh, I'm so
they
mad.
tricked you. But yeah, they filmed it in
I
Pittsburgh.
know.
They filmed at the airport.
That was the Pittsburgh airport. I lived like a block away from where the bar where Selma Hayek was a stripper. I lived a block away from that and didn't recognize it.
Is that where we visited you?
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah,
damn.
that's where we were there. I'm so mad.
Oh man.
I got coffee there.
The Mexican restaurant's there too.
Really?
Yeah, it's in Franklin Park.
In where?
Franklin Park.
Okay, I didn't go there too much, but
Okay.
still, like, I was such a bad Pittsburgher for not knowing any of that.
Yeah.
How many years did you live there for?
I lived there for, oh gosh, like 10? Not 10. It has to be like 7. I lived there for like 7 years.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you weren't there for college, but you were there like right after college, so it was like
Yeah, like the second college ended until
7.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, now I feel bad.
No, you just have to go back and rewatch it. Good thing you bought it at the thrift shop for $7.
Well, I want to hear the commentary though. I really want to hear what Kevin Smith has to say about this movie.
It's all bashing Laura Florentino.
Is it really?
No, I don't think it all is. You'll probably learn some fun
But-
stuff about it. I don't know. I don't know who does the commentary on it. I don't have it in front of me to look, but I'm sure it's him and like Affleck and all of that. This is the last.
I think that's cool.
This is the last movie in the View-Askewinverse to have Ben Affleck in a major role. I think he pops up.
But he comes back?
He does come back. He's in.
That's cool.
He's in the next two.
Good.
They're both mostly cameos, though.
Well,
so
at that point, he was wrapped up in bigger projects.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had like Daredevil and Geely.
That's the movie I got to go back and watch.
I would love to go back and watch that movie. I used to obsess over it, and then now I know it's like meme worthy, and now I don't know how I feel about it.
It's weird that like the godfather of the MCU, Jon Favreau, is in Daredevil as Foggy Nelson.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's Foggy.
I didn't know that. That was before I like knew who Jon Favreau was.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Aw. Poor John.
So I'm trying to think, what else do we want to talk about?
I mean, so I don't mean to keep bringing this up, but this wasn't like a condemnation of the Catholic Church or anything like that. It was just like, hey, look, it's weird sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
yeah,
And I think I landed right with it, because I think I was waiting for it to be like, and that's why Catholicism's terrible, and it wasn't that, and I don't think it was supposed to be.
No, I think this movie, the way this movie can be summed up, like, hey, here are some weird things about the Catholic faith. And then you wait 2 or 3 years, and it's like, oh, hey, look at what these priests are doing to little kids. So like this completely misses all of that, because that wasn't a known thing at the time. Yeah,
Right.
it was happening, but it wasn't widely known like it is now.
Right.
because anybody who did come forward was tied under. All of the documents were sealed, and people. I mean,
Yeah.
if anybody did sue the Catholic Church over it, they were under gag order.
Yeah.
Because of what was going on. So
And-
I mean, it's yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it was until like 2002, 2003 where the reporters in Boston did the Spotlight article. So,
Oh yeah.
have you
And
guys
everything blew up.
have you guys seen Spotlight?
No.
No,
Is it good?
it's good. It's got a lot of good people in it. It's as
I mean, Mark
good as-
Ruffalo's in it, right?
Mark Ruffalo, Rachel McAdams, Michael Keaton.
See, my
Wow.
favorite movie that has to do is with that topic is Doubt.
I haven't seen Doubt.
But you
Haven't
know
seen
what
that
I'm
one
talking
either.
about, though.
Yeah, that's the one with Meryl Streep,
Meryl Streep and
Amy Adams, Philip Seymour
And-
Hoffman.
Phil.
Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that to me is my favorite movie that has to do with that whole topic.
Okay.
Interesting. What do you like about it? Just hard hitting?
It's filmed real. Like, I don't
Oh,
know
I like
how else
that.
to put it, because they put the entire movie from the head nun's perspective, and you get
Mhm.
glimpses of the priest's like life and what he's doing, but nothing bad. Just
Yeah.
with the mindset of this crap was going on at that time. That's what makes those scenes questionable. But no information that you get is anything that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
the movie's called Doubt
That's cool.
because you're in doubt the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really, really good.
I know it's based on a play. I
Yeah.
might have to check that out.
Oh.
I don't know if I want to do it for the podcast though.
Yeah, that seems a little heavy.
It is heavy, but no, I mean, this is, watching the first part of this movie back when I was younger, and then finally seeing it through to the end now.
Yeah.
This is what somebody would make growing up Catholic,
Mhm.
seeing the odd things in it and just wanting to have fun with a storyline.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
Yeah.
This is not
Okay.
this is in no way somebody saying the Catholic faith is horrible. Nobody should follow this. This isn't that. This is like somebody who grew up Mormon, or growing up having friends who were Mormon and making a show just to poke fun
Yeah.
at it. It's the same exact thing. So, I mean, I enjoyed it
Yeah.
from that Catholic
Yeah.
perspective. It was hysterical.
Devin, give it another watch. And I'm curious if it grows on you.
Yeah, because I mean, here's the thing: is I never stepped away from the movie saying I didn't like it. I just stepped away from the movie going, "All right, Like
Yeah.
that, like I wasn't mad that I spent the time to watch the movie, but I also didn't like it didn't rock my world, or like there aren't parts of it that stick with me in the same way that like Chasing Amy does, or
Yeah.
like that Clerks does.
Well, this movie also touches on something too when it comes to the Catholic Church, and they had his name escapes my brain. The one who
George Carlin.
George Carlin. There we go. Sorry. About
Yeah.
that. George Carlin's character. The thing with what they were doing when it came to the Catholic Church, like like making it more like friendly to everybody. One of the things that the Catholic Church, the Catholic Church is very slow moving.
Yeah.
Because when my dad was going to seminary, he had to learn Latin because even in the 60s, the Catholic priest did mass with his back to the congregation.
What?
The entire mass was done, or church was done with the priest's back to the congregation, and like 90% of it was in Latin.
So like it didn't even matter if there was an audience there. He's just like, I'm doing this today.
Because you're supposed to be focused on praying, asking for forgiveness, thinking about what you've done, letting the word of like the gospel come into you, and then if you wanted more guidance than what the little part of mass that was done in English, that's when you had your confession to ask the priest and to ask the deacon and to ask like the priest assistants assistant for like help and guidance. Like that's what it really was. Mass was just something of a ritual.
So that's why like the beginning of the movie when he's like Catholicism wow, or Catholicism now, whatever it is, like that's supposed to be a big shocker moment, because like no way would Catholicism do that.
Exactly. So I would say it would happen in like the 70s and 80s when they got away from the whole Latin thing. And most of the Catholic churches went to actually doing mass in English or whatever the main like languages of the country that they were doing the mass in. So Catholicism is very slow moving. I mean, even with a progressive, and I hate saying this, but with a progressive pope that we have today, which there are still some things he doesn't want to move on that are extremely, but anyway, the
Benny,
it's very, very slow moving. So the humor for me as a recovering Catholic is the whole like Catholicism now and jumping ahead and having Buddy Chirst and not having to go to confession. You just walk into the church and all of your sins for that up until that point are already forgiven for you and everything. Like that's where like the silliness for me comes in.
Well, so I think part of the reason why and this might be so weird, but part of the reason why I was so disappointed in this, and not disappointed, but like was expecting it to be this whole other thing, is Buddy Chirst was my meme before memes were a thing.
Gotcha.
Like I remember being in like middle school, seeing Buddy Chirst going, this is the funniest thing I think I've seen in a while. And I would print pictures of Buddy Chirst and like put Buddy Chirst like as my background for things, like because I thought it was just the best comedic idea in the world. And I don't know what I thought the movie around that hilarious idea was, but I think I had built it up so much in my mind as, oh my God, something that's so brilliant that can make up Buddy Chirst has to be just mind blowing the whole time. And I think it was just a good movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I think I just got a good movie.
And that falls into the whole like going from one to the other of kind of like the shock of what the Catholic Church would do, because it's so, it's stuck in tradition, and then all of a sudden it changes everything, because the visual of Christ on the cross has been a Catholic image ever since the church, I believe, first started.
I think it's ever since Christ died.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, for the Catholic Church in general, Mr. I want to play a joke. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
But
it'll be funny. Anyway. It'll be funnier in 3 days.
Yeah. Okay. That was good. That was good. But still, I mean, because you've got, instead of having to go to confession, you just walk through the doors and you're good. The same drastic change would be having this like symbol that is extremely serious and very, very painful looking, to having something so happy and go lucky. Like that's part of that like huge fast movement humor, because the Catholic Church is not known for moving quickly on anything.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that.
So, Devin, I know of one time you were at a Catholic church.
Yeah, I was with you. I was in
Yeah.
a youth group.
How is Catholic
No.
aerobics?
I wasn't even talking about youth group. I was going to talk about my wedding.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
So he's never been an actual true Catholic mass?
No. No, that's a lie. I've been to Christmas Mass, and I've been to Easter Mass,
and
that was it.
And we did a mass at my wedding.
Yeah, and we did a Mass at your. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Good.
Are you going to tell the stories from your perspective or my perspective or Chad's perspective?
You can go ahead and tell it from your perspective, because I was going to bring up something, because Ryan talked about the Catholic Church not catching up. I was going to talk about technology in the Catholic Church, but if you got another story, go right ahead.
I think my favorite story is they do the part where they go, "Peace be with you," and I mean, I don't know how to do any of that, so I'm like uncomfortably shaking hands with like the three people I'm in front of, including the priest. I shake your hand and you whisper "Hail Hydra" into my ear. That was amazing.
I still get shit for that from my wife.
You better not,
because she heard me. You go back and watch the video, you can see me do it too.
Okay, Devin, that's exactly what I'm talking about Catholic humor. That is exactly what I'm talking about, because
I feel like I could tell you were uncomfortable and didn't know what was going on. So I was like, I need to make him relax a little bit. So I was just like, and this is the same year Winter Soldier came out. So I was just like, Hail Hydra.
Yep.
So
and like, so the maid of honor was so like graceful and so great about all of it. Like during the parts where I didn't know if I was supposed to sit, stand, or kneel, she just sat so poised and so nice in her chair. And then they're like, "And kneel," and like you see like me look around all scared and then drop.
I think I was trying to give you signals, like down.
This is what I affectionately call Catholic aerobics.
Yeah.
Sit, stand, kneel. Kneel, stand, sit. Sit, stand, kneel. Sit, stand, kneel,
fight.
stand. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
Catholic aerobics.
And like
I should have prepared you a little bit more, but
I loved it.
A few things
Keep me on my
happened
toes.
going into that were a little awkward and kind of flustering beyond the wedding stuff. So the night of the rehearsal dinner, the priest told us that he lost all of our paperwork, saying that like the questionnaire and stuff that we did beforehand. So I was like, he's like, "Did we do it?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I can't find it." It's like, "That's not my problem." Like,
yeah.
And then like he pulls out an iPad during his homily. And I still don't understand why, but you were talking about how the Catholic Church doesn't catch up. Evidently they have Apple accounts.
No, they do. Actually, okay, so here's what I mean about, so when it comes to tradition and just the way that the certain rules that the Catholic Church has and how they move is very tedious and very slow. Now, as the younger generations get into positions to be deacons and cardinals and all of that, technology itself, like computers and cell phones and tablets, are going to change like communication. But when it comes to how the Catholic Church views its own dogma, takes generations to change. And that's what I meant about the whole speaking Latin thing during masses, because they did that up until like the early 80s.
So,
and
that does take some time, but I feel like Pope Francis is like kind of moving the wheel along a little bit faster.
It is.
So,
he is. They're just like I said, there are certain things that take generations to change, and there are still certain things that Pope Francis doesn't want to change on. And that's it for that topic.
Okay, so final thoughts on Dogma, because we got to wrap this up.
I gotta watch it again. I liked it. I gotta watch it again. I want to watch it with the commentary, but I'll watch it soon.
To be honest, I almost watched it again for this podcast because it's been a week since I watched it. It's like I should probably watch this again. And,
well, that's for most of us at this point.
Yeah. But I was like, no, I kind of wanted to watch it again just to get a refresher and just to pick up on some stuff again. Like it feels like I forgot a lot of things. But no, I enjoy it. I'm glad I own it. I'm glad I can just pop it in. Because this is one I looked for a while. I had the screenplay for it signed by Kevin Smith.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Ryan, any thoughts?
I like it.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, it's something that somebody who grew up Catholic, who saw what they believed at the time and was like, oh, I could make a fun story out of this, and just made a fun story out of it. It's not demeaning. I think it's creative. I mean, I like it overall.
Yeah.
It's my second favorite movie so far that I've watched.
Okay.
In this whole thing.
All right. So that brings me to my next order of business. So we're counting this one for July, even though we're recording it in August. So chronologically, what is next is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. After that is Clerks 2. We're leading into Reboot. Do we want to flip the two, or do we want to keep going in chronological order? I've asked multiple people who have seen both films, and they don't think it matters. But I'm leaving it up to you guys. Do you want to go next with Strikes Back, or do you want to skip around a little bit and do Clerks 2?
Will I miss anything if I go straight to Clerks 2?
I don't think so. If you do, it's going to be like subtle jokes.
Okay. Then I say chronological, because subtle jokes are a lot of what I really like about the Kevin Smith View-Askew universe.
It's been a while since I've seen Clerks 2, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't know if I've ever actually seen all of Clerks 2 without it being on like Comedy Central.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, then this is going to be fun.
What are your thoughts?
I want to watch Strikes Back first.
Okay. All right.
Done.
So that takes care of that. So next month, or I guess later this month, we will be watching Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yes.
And then get a little bit of a refresher, and then right into Reboot. So, which we'll talk about Reboot after we hang up here. So,
oh yeah,
the more I talk about Kevin Smith, the more I do my hands like him. So, for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And Snoochie Pooches.
What's he like?
God, it's got a great sense of humor. Take sex, for example.
Sex is a joke in heaven.
The way I understand it is mostly a joke down here, too.
Get it?